The solar system is a group of planets and other bodies that rotate around the sun. Our solar system is massive. From the sun to Pluto, it is 3.7 billion miles. To kick things off, let's start with the sun. The sun is a massive star that all the planets rotate around. The sun provides them heat and light. The first planet after the sun is Mercury. Mercury is named after a Greek god. During the day, Mercury can reach staggering temperatures above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but at night, the temperature is well below zero. Let's shift our focus to Venus. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system. If you were there for just seconds, you'd die. Unlike Earth, on Venus, the sun rises on the west and sets on the east because it spins backwards. Up next, we have our home planet, Earth. Earth is the only planet in our solar system that has living organisms. Earth is also somewhat pear-shaped. After Earth, we have its little brother, Mars. Mars is made up of red sand and ice, giving it its reddish color. 155 million miles from Mars is the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt is made up of millions of asteroids that are dark gray in color. The next planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. It has 79 moons and has a massive storm that is nicknamed the Red Spot. The next planet in line is Saturn. Saturn has a bunch of rings around it that are made up of ice. Now we have the seventh planet from the sun, Uranus. Uranus is a blue-gray color and very cold. It once reached a temperature of negative 371.5 degrees Fahrenheit. On to the last planet in our solar system, Neptune. Neptune is an interesting planet because a year on Neptune is 165 Earth years. On an average day, it is negative 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, and I almost forgot about the dwarf planet, Pluto. A day on Pluto is 153 Earth hours, and a year on Pluto is 248 Earth years. Unfortunately, Pluto is now considered a dwarf planet. Gravity is an attractive force between all objects with mass. Gravity is what keeps the Earth in orbit of the Sun and the Moon in orbit of the Earth, and it is what causes everything to form. All objects with a mass attract other objects with mass to each other. This pretty much means all objects in the universe are attracted to each other. The closer the objects to each other, the more gravitational force. But as two objects get spread apart, the gravitational force gets much smaller. And according to Einstein, the larger the mass, the more attraction to other objects. There are 8 different phases of the moon that we see, and today I will show you all of them. And I will also answer these 2 questions. Why do we see different moons in the sky each night? And why does the moon periodically go away? Before I get into all the phases of the moon, I'm going to answer those 2 questions I had earlier. Why do we see different moons in the sky each night? So the reason for that is the sun reflects light onto the moon, and we can only see a bit of it, making it look like it's different types of moons. And the other question, why does the moon periodically go away? And the answer to that is the side that the sun is reflecting light on, we can't see it, making it look like there's no moon. The first moon phase is the new moon. This is the phase that we can't see any of the light that the sun is reflecting on the moon. The waxing crescent is the phase after the new moon, when the light reflecting on the moon forms a shape of a crescent. The next phase is the first quarter. This is the phase where we can see half of the moon. After the first quarter, we have the waxing gibbous. The waxing gibbous is when you can see almost the whole moon, but just a slight piece of it isn't showing. The full moon is the phase where you can see all of the moon. The waning gibbous is the phase after the full moon, when the amount of moon that we can see starts to decrease in size. The last quarter is the phase when we can only see half of the moon again. The waning crescent is the final phase that we can see some of the moon before we have the new moon again, and the whole cycle of phases of the moon starts over. There are 4 different seasons on the planet Earth: summer, fall or autumn, winter, and spring. A lot of people misunderstand how seasons work. They think that when we are closest to the sun, we have summer, and when we are farther away, we have winter. But it's actually the opposite. When we are farther away from the sun, we have summer, and when we are closer, we have winter. The reason for this is because seasons are based on which direction the Earth's axis is facing. Take these models, for example. Since the Earth's axis in this picture is facing away from the sun, it's winter. But since the Earth's axis in this picture is facing towards the sun, it's summer. Eclipses are a fascinating part of nature. There are 2 types of eclipses, a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. Before we talk about eclipses, though, I'll explain how they happen. The reason we have eclipses is because the moon is in the middle of the sun and the earth, blocking light from getting to some parts of the earth for a short period. How this happens is the moon passes through 2 shadows called the penumbra and the umbra. When the moon passes through the penumbra, it starts to get a little darker, but when it passes through the umbra, a massive shadow is cast over the moon, making the moon block the sun from the earth. A fun fact about eclipses is that we would have them every month if the moon's orbit around the earth wasn't wobbly. Since the moon's orbit is wobbly, sometimes the moon is too high and sometimes it's too low, resulting in an eclipse not happening. A lunar eclipse happens 1 to 2 times a year. The experience could last from 30 minutes to upwards of an hour. During a lunar eclipse, the moon looks red. The way they happen is when light from the sun goes through the Earth's atmosphere, longer wavelengths hit the moon, one of the lights being red, making the moon appear red. As the lunar eclipse ends, the moon exits the umbra and then the penumbra, gradually returning to its natural light. Now let's learn about a solar eclipse. A solar eclipse happens 2 to 4 times a year. A solar eclipse is when the moon passes in between the sun and the earth and blocks the sun from some parts of the earth. In the process, the moon goes in front of the sun.